There is a great need to understand change and transition in an increasingly changing world. Frightening as this is in the wake of an uncertain future, the good news is that we can now refocus our attention on the one and only thing of which we can be certain of, and that is ourselves. How we change will determine our personal future and collectively our impact on our communities and beyond. Today, I welcome the winner of the Democratic primary for New York State Senate Rochester District 56, Mr. Jeremy Cooney, as well as multi-instrumentalist, SyracuseNY Singer-songwriter Novak. My name is Amanda Ashley, and this is Afternoon Cocktail Episode 41, Change. Welcome. Hey, Novak, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us today. What are you going to perform for us?
So, since the theme today is change, I thought it would be appropriate to play a song I wrote about change.
Awesome. Yay.
Perfect. Yeah.
Take it away.
This one is called The Cage. This is from an album, Fear is the Cage, Love is the Key, that I released a few years ago. Yeah, here we go. I built a cage, one bar at a time, and I locked myself inside. I played the fool, didn't mean to be so cruel, yeah, that you'd hurt me like you do. So when I'm folded here alone and afraid, gotta be brave. Gotta stand up, 'cause baby, it's time to make a change. 'Cause now, living without you, and it's wrong, baby, yeah. Said it's time to break away. And now I'm breathing without you, and oh, it'll never be the same. 'Cause it's time to make a change. Said it's time to make a change. You took the layers off one piece at a time, and you stared at my insides. And now I'm standing here and I'm tired of being criticized. I gotta tell you that it's time. When I'm folded here alone and afraid, gotta be brave. Gotta stand up, 'cause baby, it's time to make a change. 'Cause now I'm living without you, and it's wrong, baby, yeah. Said it's time to break away. It's time to be brave. Said it's time to make a change. And it's time to be brave. God, I love you, strung together like a crow. Think I can feel them around my throat. Got that blindfold on, but still I see. You know what I love. You know what I need. Said you're not what I need. No, you're not what I need. No, you're not what I need. Time to make a change. Said it's time to be brave. Oh, oh. Said it's time to make a change. And it's time to be brave. Said it's time to make a change. It's time to make a change. Breaking out of the cage. Oh.
Yes. Awesome, Jess. That song stuck out to me when I was browsing your website and listening through some of your music. It's awesome. What can you tell us a little bit about Cage and what was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, that's like a changing story. I wrote it originally after a breakup. So it was kind of inspired in that, like breaking out of a relationship. But the more I played it, and it was weird, it like matured over time, where now it's, to me, represents more of not just breaking out of a relationship, but it was more me breaking out of my mental state at the time of feeling trapped and realizing, like in that first line, I built a cage one bar at a time, and just deciding that you make whatever change you want. So it doesn't have to do with that other person, it has to do with you. So the cage started as someone else putting a cage on you, and I realized usually we put the cage on ourselves. So that's what that song is definitely about.
Yeah, it's so true. It's really well said. I think sometimes it takes those breaking points for us to reevaluate our situations and our outlook on ourselves even, and that's usually what brings change on. I mean, change, I think, is very scary to a lot of people, but there's so many positives that are drawn from it. What positive impact has change had on all of your experience?
Oh man, everything. I wouldn't be here, that's for sure, without everything changing constantly. I think it's a gift, when you're put in that kind of position, like you said, that breaking point. So it seems so terrible at the time, but really everything good comes from that growth.
Yeah. Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, what has it positively, like, what has change brought to your life? Like, I mean, aside from, I mean, even musically, I mean, right now we're kind of in a really big transitional phase, right? All of us are. I mean, what's the positives drawn from our recent experiences for you?
Yeah, that's a great example, because I was just talking to a musician last night who just kept saying, oh, it's so awful right now, isn't it awful? And really, I've taken it kind of as a great opportunity, because now all of a sudden, rather than basing everything I do off of live shows, which we thought was the only way to make money anymore, it's not. Now you can, right now, connect to all these different people. Or earlier this morning, I was on Twitch streaming my show to people all around the world. So suddenly, I think it's taken down a lot of barriers and given people the opportunity, the chance, the time to find new ways to be creative and sustainable. Whereas I realized through all of this, I can't play at bars 5 nights a week for the rest of my life. I don't want to. So, for example, being in quarantine has made me be more creative about how I can reach my audience, how I can deliver music and shows. And like this weekend, we're doing a live CD release. I've never done that before. It's really exciting, but I think it'll really work, because all of a sudden, you don't have to be in Syracuse to come to the show. You can be anywhere and watch anytime.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I really think, I'm a musician outside of this show, and, I feel the same exact way. I think live streaming, live stream is the new norm. I had done live streaming prior to all of this, but now it's like the only way, and I think everybody's tuned into it all of a sudden. I think there's a lot of beauty to it, like it really does broaden your audience quite a bit. Now it's not just Rochester or Syracuse or where you're at for that evening. It's like you could be across the world, for some people, and they're just, happen to stumble upon you. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. What's your honest opinion of live streaming? Do you feel that way, that it's broadened your exposure, or has it kept you more honest, maybe, like with your audience and your viewers?
Yeah, I like how you said that, more honest, because what I love the most about streaming is it's a totally different show than live, which a lot of people don't understand at first. They just go on and expect it to be like a show at a bar, but it's not like that.
you're talking to people, you're interacting. I find myself being a lot braver musically because when you're at a bar, you're hired by this bar to do something, or this music venue to do something. So you kind of have this idea of expectations, but when you're live streaming, it's just like this. Like, all these people now feel like they're in my living room. And especially during like the height of quarantine, it was like every Friday we're all hanging out like together in our pajamas sometime. You know, it's just very, very natural. And that comes through musically. When like yesterday, I tried a song that I had just written, you know, wasn't even finished, but I thought, why not? You know, this audience will appreciate that and maybe give me some input, and they did. And so it's this whole completely different experience, and I think it's really beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it gives it more, like, it gives our careers more of a personal touch again. You know, like, I feel that way, like, with performing at bars. You know, like, I'm hired for a number of things. Sometimes I'm hired to be, you know, wallpaper, you know, essentially. Like, I'm hired to play for fine dining, you know, like, the ambience sake, you know. Here you have an opportunity where you could speak, you know, you could, and not feel stupid about it, you know, like, here's your platform, take it or leave it, you know, but here's an opportunity for me to actually tell you about my songs because, well, there's no clock ticking, and why not, you know?
Exactly that. And it's been
Cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. Like you said, it's been fun for artists. I feel like some never even imagine doing more than just going and, you know, playing to sell beer or whatever the situation is. But when you have that opportunity and you can make your stream how you want and you can cater it to your audience how they like it, and it's so much fun. It opens so many doors creatively for an artist.
Yeah, I agree. I think everybody's kind of taken this whole thing differently, like on a musical, like in terms of speaking about other musicians. I have musician friends that say the same thing, you know, like, oh, this is like the worst time, or it's this and that. Sure, it's easy to like find all the negatives, right? But there's so many positives, you know, and if you actually focus on them, this could be a really golden opportunity for a lot of people to showcase themselves in a way that they weren't able to before, you know? So I think it's all good. Let's rewind a little bit. So tell me a little bit about you. So you're from Syracuse, New York. You are so talented. I can't believe how many instruments you play. So can you tell our audience, like, where your beginnings, like, what was your beginning?
Yeah, so I live in Syracuse now, but I'm from New Jersey. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, which was a different experience growing up down there. I lived in a lake community, so I wanted to learn piano as a kid. My mom's name is Melody. She can't play or sing, but she came from a musical family, so it was important. And so when I was a kid, she said, "What instrument do you want to learn?" I said, "Piano." And she said, "I don't know a piano teacher, so how about violin?" I said, "Okay." So in the community, there was like a violin teacher, you know, 2 minutes away. So she would drive me there every week. So when I was 7, until I went to college, every week I was there taking lessons. And
Wow.
yeah, and it didn't resonate with me that much. I liked classical, but it wasn't until my brother John, who's 10 years older than me, he introduced me to Jimi Hendrix and Kool and the Gang and Cream and all these bands that I know that changed my whole life. Because I remember when I heard Jimi Hendrix, I told my mom I was going to play violin like him, like he plays guitar, and everybody thought I was crazy. And now here we are. So I play Jimi Hendrix in my band all the time. So it's
You
cool
go,
when
girl.
that, you know, all happens.
Yeah. Now, you said your mother wasn't musical. Your brother, does he play anything?
Yeah, my brother does, and like a lot of my cousins are all musical. Like it's everywhere in the family except for my parents.
That's so interesting. How funny. Do you and your brother ever jam out?
Yeah, he's been on a few of my albums, and he
Cool.
plays with a band in Pennsylvania that I sit in with sometimes.
Amazing. That's very, very cool. I know. Yeah, neither one of my parents, nobody in my immediate family was musical. But yeah, it's so funny how that it's in your genes for certain.
Definitely.
So tell us about August 9th. You just mentioned it that you're having a CD release. So actually, before we talk about that, you have a band. So you play solo, and then let's talk about your band a little bit. So how many people are in your band?
Yeah, so I play in a few different things. I play solo, then I play with my boyfriend Ben Wayne. We have a duo called Sadeford, and then that has a band, and then I have a separate band called the Just Novak Band, and we've been going for 6 years now, something like that. And
Cool.
And this band right now, it's taken some different forms with horns and piano and all different things, but right now it's me on piano, guitar, violin, singing, electric guitar player Anthony Saturno, a trumpet player who also sings, Nick Fields, bass, Jabari McKinistry, and then 2 drummers, Byron Cage and Gavin George. So on Sunday it'll be 6 pieces, double full kit drums. So that'll be cool and big.
Very cool. So where are you live streaming from?
We're going to be doing the show from Subcat Studios in Syracuse, and it'll be pushed live on Facebook on all different pages.
So how are you guys going to perform, like the songs from your upcoming CD, or are you going to just like do like a little listen party? Like how's it going to go down on live stream?
Yeah, we're going to play the album like from start to finish. So just how it is on the CD, we're going to perform it with, you know, a few surprises, but we're going to do it live.
That's so cool. I love it. Well, congratulations. That's super exciting. I know it's kind of like a weird time to release an album, but I think you're doing it the right way. That's awesome. I mean, what could fans expect from this new album? How is it different from your last?
I keep talking about that. That's a big one because over the past few years, it's like I always try to hit all the bases. So 2 years ago, I released Fears the Cage, Love is the Key, and that was solo. And that was me mostly solo on different instruments and then with a few collaborations. And then last year, I released Rise, that was with my boyfriend Ben, and that's the one we recorded down in Nashville. So that was something else. And now it's like this year is the year to get back to the band. So the last band album was in 2017, and that was called Fireworks and Fairy Tales. And that was a really popular album, but it was very much like the title. It was like fantasy and very happy and love and like hopeful, whereas this album is the cover is me like a boxer. It's more with more fight and attitude, which I think is so appropriate for 2020, where everything is so, you know, kind of on edge, really. So yeah, the album kind of naturally found that theme. But it emerged from 2 songs in particular that talk about standing up, just choosing to stand up when people are kicking you down. And one is from a song I wrote about the Joker movie that came out last year. So it's like that idea of rising up and not taking, not taking it anymore.
I love the photo shoot, the photos that you've been posting from that, and the album cover. I believe that's what's on your website, right?
Yeah.
The picture of you with your hands kind of like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Have you ever tried fighting, like boxing?
Not in a long time. It's been a long time. I've always been a fighter, though. I had 2 older brothers, so I feel like that's just a natural thing that happens, where you're just ready anytime.
Yeah, ready for things to come flying in your direction.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, you seem pretty inspired by all of this. I mean, it seems like you've been writing quite a bit during quarantine. Is that so? Like, what do you find most inspiring about all that's happened?
Oh my gosh. Sometimes it's kind of overwhelming to pick one thing to focus on.
Yeah.
Especially in songwriting, you can get so distracted, like trying to say everything. But that's actually been a challenge. In quarantine, I've had to pick, like, okay, today we're going to focus on this one and tackle this. And I've tried writing some kind of political songs. They're really difficult. I wrote one, Counting on Love, a few years ago, and that one I'm just kind of sticking with because it's very easy to get kind of preachy in a song, and I hate that. I like it to be, like, Imagine to me is a perfect statement song where it's saying something but not telling someone they're wrong. It's like, let's think about how this could be. So for me, I'm still working on the statement song, but I have written one. Actually, I've written quite a few, and most of them have been inspired by things I've been able to see or do during quarantine, like movies I've watched or books I've read that kind of inspires something in me, like the one you mentioned, Without Love.
I love that one. I think it's so good. Yeah, it's really, really a great song.
Thank you.
You're
That was
welcome.
inspired by a movie with a line, without love, breath is just a clock. And like that totally inspired me and made me think about all these people in quarantine thinking, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't have that. It's like, that doesn't matter. If you have your loved ones and they're safe and like you're good, So stop, appreciate what you have. Without love, there's nothing. So hold on to it. So I try to radiate positivity and tell people to remember what's important. That's what I always try to say in my songs.
Amen, sister. Well, you do it beautifully. And I look forward to hearing more from you And I really hope to catch your band someday. I mean, I think you're excellent. So keep on the right track and making good music for us. Where can our audience find your music?
So I'm everywhere, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. But if you have trouble finding it, JessRockNovak.com. That's like the central location. So from there, you can find everything, however you like to listen to music.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica, so much for being on our show. And we're going to hear one more from Jess towards the end of our program. Before I bring my friend Jeremy Cooney on to speak with us, I just want to throw a shout out to today's sponsors. We are in part 3 of our 2nd season here at Afternoon Cocktail. It's our 42nd episode, which is so crazy. But we have some awesome sponsors. So if you are in need of accepting credit cards for your company or for your own personal businesses, Electronic Merchant Systems will be sure to help you out. Thank you to Compeer Rochester for your support and for doing awesome things in our community here in Rochester. Salvatore's Pizzeria, it's Friday night. Make sure you get your pizza orders in. Make it easy on yourselves and order some good eats. Jeremy, what's up?
Hey, Amanda, what's going on?
Oh, not too much. You're just sitting with some brilliant people, having conversations.
Right on, right on. Happy Friday.
Yeah, thank you. You too. So, Jeremy, I have the pleasure of knowing you, but could you tell our audience a little bit about who you are and give us a little bit about your story and your background and what led you to running for New York State Senate?
Sure, glad to. First, let me just shout out Jess. That was an amazing first performance, and I'm excited to hear her right after I stopped talking. So maybe I should be brief and just get right to Jess again. Show. But here's my story, a little bit of an American story, right? Or the America that we hope to be, which is I came to this country with nothing, but for the grace of God and the love and courageousness of a single mom here in Rochester, New York, just a little bit west of Syracuse. I got the opportunity to be adopted from an orphanage in Calcutta, India. And I was raised right here in the city of Rochester. I went to city schools, public schools, all the way through. Got scholarships to go on to college and then law school, but really was inspired by public service and giving back to the community that helped raise me. I'm a Democrat, very proud Democrat, and I have had the opportunity to work for some amazing leaders, both nationally and locally here in Rochester and upstate New York. And so I got my start working on Capitol Hill down in Washington for our late Congresswoman, Louise Slaughter, here in the Rochester area. And then I've had the chance to work for 2 governors and serve as the chief of staff for the mayor of the city of Rochester, with Lovely Warren, who is our first African-American woman mayor, which is an incredibly inspiring story in itself. So now, all these years later, here we are in 2020, a year of change, hopefully. Yeah. Hopefully, and all the good stuff politically that's happening, across our country, but even right here in New York, changes that are happening. I want to be part of that change. I want to bring some new leadership, new ideas, a new way of governing, a new way of legislating, being more inclusive. And I'm at a point in my life, I'm 39, and I'm at a point in my life where Diane, my partner, and I are looking to start a family and are making the types of decisions in our life that affect a lot of our neighbors. What is the quality of schools like? How do our children feel safe? How do we create jobs for the next generation of upstate New Yorkers? And I want to bring that perspective to our state capital in Albany and bring that on behalf of the thousands of Rochesterians and Monroe County residents here in Rochester. So I'm looking at this as public service, Amanda, and that's why I wanted to throw my name in the hat and give it a shot and earn my spot to represent the people of Rochester.
It's amazing. I mean, what key point of change are you most passionate about?
Oh, it's so hard. I mean, just like you artists, right? We all have our passions. But for me, I think it's healthcare. I believe that healthcare is a right. I believe that we need to do better at taking care not only of our kids, but also of our aging adults. Amanda, that this personally on my story that That courageous single mom who adopted me from India, I lost her a few years ago to cancer. And so many families, right, have experienced a loss through, unfortunately, cancer. But that exposed me to the inequity in our health system in New York, the incredible costs for long-term healthcare needs. And we're just not doing it well. Sometimes I feel in New York, and really probably across the country, that, you know, if we don't have the perfect solution, then we don't do anything at all, right? We just keep on maintaining the same system, which is not helping anyone. So, you know, in this role that I've been in, I've been calling thousands of people from all different parts of the community, you know, rural, urban, suburban. And the common thread between all that is, I can't afford to buy prescription drugs for my mom. Or my kid has a pediatrician, but we can't afford to go because the copay is too high. So what can I do as a state lawmaker to help make that healthcare option more accessible and more affordable to all New Yorkers, but especially New Yorkers who struggle economically? And we know that that is often the case in communities of color. And how can we make, because right here in Rochester, by the way, which is shocking, a lot of people don't know this, depending on one zip code, your life expectancy changes, right? So this is a relatively small upstate New York community, right? So 700,000 plus people, but depending on one zip code, your life expectancy greatly changes because of the access to healthcare services and a lot of the pre-existing health conditions that people have. So that's why I got into this race, was to help provide more healthcare affordability to families and make it more affordable to raise a family in New York. And I think that's the opportunity that we're going to have next year in the Senate.
How can we do that? How can we make it more affordable for families? I mean, where does that affordability get driven from? Taxes?
Yeah, well, there's that. Yeah, of course. You know, no one likes paying taxes, but we all want the benefit of
right.
that taxes provide. But here's a couple of ways to look at it differently. So there's different models, right? So we hear this all the time on the federal side, in the U.S. politics. You have Bernie Sanders, right, who talked a lot about single-payer healthcare, right? You've got other people who talk, you know, including Vice President Biden, who talk about universal healthcare, right, providing access to everyone. And then you've got, on the other side of the aisle, you've got President Trump, who will talk about, you know, making sure that people have the right to choose their independent healthcare provider through private insurance. What my interest is kind of a blend of all of those together, right? We acknowledge that we have good private healthcare systems. Right here in Rochester, we have Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield, but we also know that a lot of people can't access them. And so I believe that if we state upfront that every person in New York should have access to affordable healthcare by taking the reliance off of the employers. Like right now, most people get their health insurance by the job that they're in, right? And sometimes that's really unaffordable for a small business employer to provide healthcare insurance to their employees. Or if they work for a big company, you know, maybe the benefits aren't as good, right? And so then you got me, right, who's out there by myself, and I'm on the exchange here in New York. It's really expensive. It's really hard to make that premium payment every month. So I believe, you know, through taxes and things like that, we can make healthcare more affordable, which will save New Yorkers. This is the key, which will save New Yorkers, taxpayers, money in the long term, so that we don't have as many health problems down the line by giving people healthcare access up front.
It is really wild, like how, you know, an unprecedented like incident could potentially put you in debt. You know, like a week ago, I ate a bunch of cherries and my face blew up and like my throat was closing, you know, and I like wasn't anticipating spending my Saturday at Strong Hospital, but, you know, shit happens. And I like literally was at urgent care and they called the ambulance. And the first thing like it hits my mind is like, oh my God, like, you know, a normal person, like they just called the ambulance. An ambulance ride is not cheap, right? If for somebody who doesn't have, you know, that that good healthcare to back them up. You know, an ambulance ride is going to cost you a good amount of money. Being in the hospital for 4 hours and just being monitored is going to, you know, triple that sum, you know? So it's like coming out of it, like nobody asked me, you know, but I had no choice. It was either that or I just suffocated, you know? I don't know, it's wild to think about that. And I had it, you know, in my family too. My sister, like years ago, you know, like she ended up in the hospital for strep, like basically like strep, you know, but in her leg, like they almost had to amputate her leg, you know, and she like had this $30,000 bill that got racked up, you know? It's crazy.
You know, think of COVID, right? Like it changed the world as we know. You know, all of a sudden that extra money that we had, maybe we only had a couple pennies, but it's gone, right? So if your car breaks, this is really hard to afford the repair. Or if you have a sick kid and you have to go to the hospital, that could change your life. How are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to make your mortgage payment, right?
Yeah.
So these are the issues that the majority of New Yorkers are facing, whether you live in New York City or Long Island, or whether you live up here in upstate New York and Rochester and Syracuse, right? These are what everyday families are facing. You know, I got my teeth cleaned the other day, and
they look great.
Thank you. I'm very proud. No cavities.
Good job.
I was talking to the dental hygienist, right, which is always a little awkward, right, because they talk to you and like, yeah, you know, kind of trying to have a conversation. And you know, I said, what could we make easier for you? And this person said to me, I'm doing everything right. I work full time. My husband works full time. We have 2 great kids. They're, you know, going to school and showing up and playing sports, but we can't afford to buy a house. We can't afford to go on vacation, despite the fact that they're working really hard and being responsible, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, what could we do to make that better for you? We in government, right? And she said, well, you know, my healthcare plan is where the majority of the money goes to, right? The family plans that you get from our private insurance model currently are really expensive, hundreds of dollars a month, right? So if we were able to take, for example, this, I met with a group of pediatricians last fall. If we made the decision in New York and said every kid in New York, right, 0 to age 18 is going to get free health care, regardless of their income. Their mom could be a millionaire, their dad could be on social services, right? Doesn't matter. Every kid in New York gets free health care. They can see their pediatrician, they get their vaccinations, they get to have early screenings, all that kind of good stuff. If we said that as a moral thing for New Yorkers, not only would it not cost us a lot of money, because most of our kids are already taken care of through insurance, but it would also allow us to save hundreds of thousands, actually millions of dollars for chronic long-term effects, which are not, are not being taken care of, right? Diabetes and asthma and lead paint poisoning, things like that. We would take care of early on because we know that the brain functions most between 0 and 3. So we want to make sure that every kid, as they develop and they're growing, can grow in a healthy way. And if we did that in New York, parents wouldn't have to buy family plans, right? So the cost that more dollars in their pocket, they would be able to keep, and they could invest in buying a home or supporting local businesses or going to the bar and listening to jazz. Like they could do all of those things. But right now, cash is limited. Those of us in the working middle class, like we don't have that ability to be able to save as much as we want to save. So these are just kind of some of the things that we're trying to think about differently. A new generation of leadership going to Albany, going to New York State politics to just kind of make life a little bit better for all of us.
Yeah, sure. Definitely important. I mean, there's no denying that. And definitely something that requires change. I mean, Jeremy, we live in an age where the integrity of our elected officials and law enforcement is a big one right now. It's often questioned. How can you assure your voters that you're just not another self-serving politician?
Right. A lot, and that's a fair question to ask, and it should be asked. I guess here's a way I look at it a little bit differently than most, right? There's a lot of people who are interested in politics. Maybe they watch a lot of CNN or go on Twitter and follow the dialogue that happens there. But politics should be different than public service, right? Campaigns are interesting and fun and exciting, but public service is about doing the work on behalf of the people that elected you to do that work. And you have to keep that in mind all the time. I am here to serve the community that gave me this opportunity to work on their behalf. And so if I'm going to Albany, I better darn remember that hygienist who told me about their family not being able to afford to buy a house. That should be what drives me, not money from a corporation or a lobbyist telling me this or that. It needs to be about the people that we're looking to represent. And I think we've gotten away from that, right? That, again, it's not about being a Democrat or a Republican. It's the common sense thread, right? It's about people who recognize that this is not just a job. This is an opportunity to serve. And that may not be forever, right? We have a lot of politicians who have been around the block for years, right? One of the people that I admire most in politics served this community for decades. But that may not be the new way of public service in our future, right? The new way may be about going in, doing good work, and then getting out of the way for the next generation to come in and have their priorities and their voice be heard. So that's the mindset that I'm bringing to this opportunity, that if I'm elected and given the elected opportunity to serve in November 3rd, I hope that I will be able to go in there, focus on the things I care about most, like healthcare access, like funding for public schools, like climate justice and reducing our reliance on fossil fuels. All of those things are my point of view, and I'll do some good work there and then get out of the way so that we have the next generation coming up behind us.
Yeah, I think that's great. I love all the legwork that you do. I mean, you literally knocked on like 1,200 homes, was it? Right? And you spoke
22,136.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. But I mean, I'm sure you've got some really interesting perspectives, you know. Did anybody slam a door in your face? Like, honestly?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. And by the way, that goes both ways, right? So I've had a door opened in my face and they said, "Are you voting for women's reproductive choices?" And I said, "Yes." They said, "Good, I'll vote for you." They slammed the door. I'm like, all right, well, do you want to hear about healthcare? Or no? Okay. You know, or when I've had the other thing happen, right? When you open the door and you say, "Hi, hi, I'm Jeremy Cooney." "You're Jeremy Cooney?" "Yes, I know. I was adopted from India, right? I'm the tannest Irishman you've ever seen." You know, that little. And they know, but then they'll say, "Well, where are you on whatever issue matters most to them?" You know, I think, and I may say it, and they say, "Well, I'm not interested. Thank you very much." But I will share that, you know, Jess made a comment in your first interview where she talked about writing political songs and how difficult it is because the listener doesn't always want to be preached to. And I totally agree with her. And the way that we have approached public service and politics is that when we knock on your door, in obviously a pre-COVID world, when we knock on your door, we don't tell you what we want to tell you. We shut up and we listen to what's on your mind. So we say, "Hey, what keeps you up at night? What are you worried about? How can we help?" And then we let them talk. And I think that's a very different way of campaigning, whereas some people are telling you, "Well, here's what I need to tell you. These are the issues that matter most, and this is what we're going to do about it. So I need your vote." No, if this is really about public service, tell me how I can help you, and then let's get it done together. And I think that's the type of political leadership. It's not about parties again. It's not about being a Democrat or being a Republican or Working Families Party. It's about making sure that you're listening to people and then following up and doing the work on their behalf as a public servant.
Totally. Jeremy, I mean, today's theme is change. Obviously, you're a big advocate for change, but what has all your experience taught you, and how have you evolved since your start on Capitol Hill?
Oh, man. Well, I've come a long way from being a 22-year-old on Capitol Hill, I can tell you that. But I think, I think we all live through our life and our experience the people coming out of our lives, and that helps change our perspective on things, right? You know, I have always been proud to be a Rochester City Schools graduate. But here's the reality. I graduated, almost 20 years ago. Hard to say that. But the city school district is not the same school district that I graduated. We are the worst performing public school district in the state of New York. We graduate the least amount of African-American males in the state of New York. That's unacceptable. That's just not right. That's not the American dream. That's not the school system that I graduated from. We have to do better. And so for politicians to just kind of shrug and say, oh, well, that's education the way it is, that's unacceptable. I do believe that to get to your point, Amanda, we need to change that dynamic, right? And it's not just about throwing money at it, right? That's not working, right? What are the things we can do to better support teachers? How can we make parents feel heard? How do we build a more inclusive, more diverse workforce? How do we change the curriculum so that kids at the 5th and 6th grade level are exposed to careers that don't require them to get years of fancy degrees and lots of debt, right? There's a different way of thinking about public education. And I think my perspective on how education systems work has changed dramatically from being that young Capitol Hill intern and, young professional staffer to now, being in a position to hopefully be in a leadership role with how we have education run in New York. And, this is 2020. The whole world as we knew it blew up and changed just a few months ago with COVID-19. So healthcare is still very much front and center. How do we make sure that if we have another pandemic, that we are prepared and that we listen to people and that we support families in the way that they need us to do it? And that's the openness to change that my team is willing to help bring to Albany. And let me just do a quick shout out, if you will allow me, Amanda. We have 64 amazing interns. And a lot of them who are at colleges and universities across New York, and they're listening into your show right now. And that's the next generation. These are the brilliant minds that are going to be taking on careers not just in upstate New York but all across our country. And they're volunteering their time to help bring change into the political system of New York. And we can't let them down. We are doing this for them. And I'm just grateful for all of their hard work and the efforts that they are making to bring change to upstate New York and to Rochester.
Well, we thank you and your team, for advocating for some really amazing things for our community and for the work that you put into the community. I thank you. Jeremy, where can our audience be directed to your website and where could they find out more about you?
Great, thank you. Just go to jeremycooney.com. So that's JeremyCooney.com. And then we're on social media as well, just like Jess, all the channels. So just go to Jeremy Cooney Rock, ROC, and you'll be able to find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Awesome. Jeremy, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you doing this today. It's awesome. Well, Jess, you ready to close us out with one more of your originals?
I sure am.
Awesome.
Jeremy, that was amazing. You give me hope.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so thank you, really. I needed that. All right, so I'm going to play a song that is going to be on that new album. We're going to preview it on Sunday, so it's pretty cool. Sunday will be with the full band, 6 pieces, 2 drummers, the whole thing. So here it is all stripped down, though. This is a song called Match. They say we've got chemistry, oh boy, like science at a 7C. Now show you how it works. You know what I mean. I take a chance on me and open up your mind, 'cause I got mysteries wanting you to find. You've been living life blind. And take a chance, pass it around. We're the crew from the lost and found, and now we're glory bound. Yeah, you got me rolling again. I'm on fire again, yeah. Give me that taste from of your tongue.
Been shy for time, but now I want some. They say we met, I met your boy. Now I burn, baby, burn. And I know you think you know it all, but I got some things that you ought to learn. I take a chance on me and open up your mind, 'cause I got mysteries wanting you to find. You've been living life blind. And take a chance, pass it around. We're the crew from the lost and found, and now we're glory bound. Yeah, you got me rolling again. I'm on fire again, yeah. Need that taste from all of your tongue. Been shy for time, but now I want some. Burn, baby, got the fire now. Oh, 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 yeah. You got me rolling again. I'm on fire again. Baby, I'm in my mansion, you well. And now I burn, baby, got the fire now. Learn, baby, watch my body now. Burn, baby, got the fire now. I'm in my mansion, you burn, baby, got the fire now. Learn, baby, watch my body now. Burn, baby, got the fire now. I'm in my mansion, you, yeah. Now I burn, baby, burn. Burn, baby, got the fire now. Burn, baby, got the fire now. Got me rolling again. I'm on fire again, yeah. Baby, I'm in my mansion, you will. And now I burn, baby, got the fire now. Burn, baby, watch my body now. Burn, baby, got the fire now. I'm in my mansion, you burn, baby, got the fire now. Burn, baby, watch my body now. Burn, baby, got the fire now. I'm in my mansion, you, yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Woo, that was so good. I love it. Oh, girl, you turned that That violin was awesome. Thank you. Thank you to Jess Novak and to Jeremy Cooney for sharing your brilliant minds with us today. Make sure you tune in August 9th to Jess's Facebook page. That's where she'll be doing her live stream for her album release, and make sure you pick up that album when it's available. So today, I posted a quote earlier, and the quote was, "When things change inside you, things change around you." And it's so true. And we've touched upon this with both interviews. When I sat down to write this morning, I began making a list of all the things change means to me. Change is accepting something new. Change is intimidating. Change is a response to something old. Change is scary. Change is starting fresh. Change is necessary for our personal growth. Change is an opportunity. Change is going with that gut feeling that something is not right. Change is a commitment to leave behind old behaviors and patterns. Change is self-love. This topic may seem a little redundant, and we've spoken about it many times before in previous conversations, but I feel that it's redundant for a reason. Change is happening around us all the time. There are so many angles to which we can look at change and the positives it draws. We currently are sucked in a vortex of figuring out what change means to us. I mean, you flip on the television or you scroll down your feeds, everyone and everything around us is trying to define and or is reacting to what these changes mean, what changes need to happen, and where change is necessary. Everyone is advocating for something, and it's all important, all of it. It all matters. It's overwhelming and exhausting, and I'm just being real when I say that. If you're not with me on this, here's what I found to be most helpful. Have a moment with yourself and sort out your wants and needs and begin with you. Define physically, how do I feel? Where do I want to be? What change do I wish to see in my body? What change in my habits do I need to make in order to see results? What adjustments to my diet do I need to make? Then emotionally, ask yourself questions like, how do I feel on a regular basis? Am I overwhelmed with work, or am I having a hard time sleeping? Am I enjoying the company of the people in my life? Am I making enough time to nourish the relationships that are meaningful to me? What issues are important to me? And most of all, am I happy? If your answer to that last question, am I happy, is no, then you need to make a list of what makes you feel unhappy, and then from there, figure out what changes need to happen in order to flip that frown the other way around. When we start taking better care of ourselves, we take care of those around us best. So simply put, we need to find a way to take back responsibility for ourselves, in essence, to shift the way we think about how we want to be in the world. If we all treated one another better in the first place, if we all showed a little respect to ourselves and respected one another, the world would be a much more loving place. So start with changing you. It all begins with adjusting your attitude. If you don't like something about your current life, you have the power to change it. Most likely, it won't be easy, but nothing worthwhile ever is. Everyone love each other, and I will see you again this Monday at 1 o'clock. And if you are in Rochester, please come say hello to me tomorrow. I'll be at California Rollin' 2 from 6 to 9 p.m. Thank you to Beau Productions. Shout out to James Farley of Northwestern Mutual and to Maiden Voyage Studios in Fairport. Thanks again to Compeer Rochester, Salvatore's Pizzeria, and Electronic Merchant Systems. And thank you for tuning in. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. See you back here Monday.